Oh, YouTube, I knew you'd come. That's right, this is Pillar to Post, and we are on YouTube.com. It is May 1st, and tonight was Monday Night Raw. I want to point this out right now. That final match, the main event, sold the entire fucking card. I don't give a shit about any other match. That is the way a main event is supposed to happen. That is the way a main event is supposed to play out. There is supposed to be a lot of emotion going into this match and coming out. There's supposed to be suspense. There's supposed to be action. There is supposed to be those oh my god, holy shit moments. And this match had it all. They told a story for a change in this main event. All three competitors, Seth Rollins, Finn Balor, Miz, they all told the story that they wanted to be the ones to face Ambrose for the Intercontinental title. Now, I can appreciate a match done like this because this is the way it should be done. Every match on the card should be done this way. Every match should be telling the story that these guys do not want to be mediocre. These guys want to be above the norm, above average superstars. They don't want to be mid-card players. But everyone's going to say the Intercontinental title is a mid-card title. I disagree. I've always thought, and there are a lot of fans out there that would probably agree with me, that the Intercontinental title has, in the right hands, has been more important than the world title has ever been, or right now, the Universal title. So I'm very pleased to see that they are actually putting Finn Balor and Seth Rollins into the mix for the Intercontinental title. Right now, you've got Brock Lesnar taking a 3-month hiatus, sitting on his ass, doing absolutely nothing for the company. So what are you going to do? It is time to elevate your Intercontinental title. Elevate it to the point where it means something more. So that way when Brock comes back, they can look at it and say, well, I've got the Intercontinental title. You've got a title that just sits there and gets dusty. We've got a title that is actually being fought over, being cared for, being pushed. Brock Lesnar, I don't care what anyone says. Everyone says, oh, Brock Lesnar adds credibility to the Universal title. Bullshit. How do you add credibility when you sit your ass at home and do nothing for the company, but you're getting paid millions upon millions of dollars to do what you're doing? And that's being a lazy champion. I understand he's a part-timer, and it works in his favor because then he wouldn't be able to pump all the roids into his system if he was full-time. So he's, WWE has to take the hit if they want to have Brock Lesnar on a contract. Now, you can, be pissed at me for saying whatever you want. I know there's a lot of you that would just fall down on your knees and suck Brock Lesnar's cock. I, on the other hand, would not. Because him holding the Universal title right now is fucking pointless. Do I want to see him versus Braun Strowman? No. Do I want to see him versus Roman Reigns again? No. I don't want to see Brock Lesnar in a ring anymore. Because, frankly, there's no point to it. He gets the title, he gets to do nothing with it. And yet, he can claim he is the Universal Champion. Whoopee, buddy! You're Universal Champion. It gets dusty while you sit your ass at home. Oh, yes, you got Sable. You can fuck the hell out of her all you want. But, you're doing absolutely nothing of elevating the championship that you hold over your shoulder or around your waist. So, what's the point? I seem to be struggling with an issue. I want to point this out. When a cruiserweight match comes on, I have a tendency to start falling asleep. And I got caught tonight by my daughter, who always watches wrestling with me. And she gave me shit for it because I guess I missed a good spot. Now, this wasn't the Austin Aries TJP match. This was the, I think it was a 6-man tag. So automatically I felt it was shit to begin with. But I guess there was some good spots in there according to her. So I got in a little bit of shit. But you know what? They got to pick it up a little bit for me to stay awake through one of their matches. On the other hand, I did stay awake for the Austin Aries and TJP match because they actually gave me something of interest to watch. It was good. I loved it. For the most part, the top of the card, you got Alexa Bliss coming out. She has every single woman in the division out there. Surprisingly, even Alexa Bliss. And she cut an excellent promo like we know she can. And it was good. We had, right off the hop, we had an impromptu, what was an 8-woman tag team match. I wasn't too much into that. I figured, you know, come on, you need 8 women. You couldn't split it up a little bit. You know, one singles match, a couple of, you know, tag team matches. No, you had to throw them all in one lump sum. Didn't really make sense to me. So I didn't really care for it. But in the end, I'm going to say that Raw was pretty good tonight. We've seen broken Matt Hardy. Well, a little bit more broken than he's been, which was good to see. Thus is why I did the opening I did, because I did it to my daughter in the kitchen while she's making me a coffee, and she laughed her full head off. So I had to pull it on you guys, and she told me I had to. So, you know, she might be 14, but she's a woman in the house, and I listen when the women speak. At least sometimes. But, yeah, we had Sheamus and Cesaro out there playing the heel card. They played it up. Let the fans know that they tried, and they were tired of it. So, basically, F you. We thought it was all done. I didn't think we'd see the Hardys because nothing happened during the promo. Bang, out come the Hardys. Matt was playing up a little bit more of the broken character, which I like to see. He didn't go too far into it, and it was good, you know? So, you can't shit on something totally unless it's called for. And the main event sold everything that I expected for a main event. I didn't like the outcome because that means, yes, you've got The Miz versus Dean Ambrose again. I don't want to see another feud between these guys. Maybe they can elevate it this time. Maybe they can make it more interesting, make it a little bit edgier. But one problem I have, The Miz. I cannot respect him as a professional wrestler when all he does is mimic everyone else. He needs a personality of his own. And he's good when he cuts a promo about something he actually cherishes and respects. He can cut a good damn promo. We've seen that enough on Talking Smack. We've seen it enough on SmackDown. When he's emotional about something, he cuts a great promo. He doesn't rely on other people's past promos and gimmicks to cut his own. But tonight, what did we see? You know, mimicking Daniel Bryan again. And it's, to me, I don't want to see that. I want to see you do your own thing. I try and do my own thing here on this show. I try very hard to. It is very hard when there is so many of us doing these podcasts to actually bring you different news that someone else doesn't have. Especially when you're such a low figure on the totem pole like I am. I don't have the money to go and pay into subscriberships to get that early news that no one else is getting. But, you know, the channel's growing. We're almost at 100 subscribers. Almost. And I appreciate that. I do. I appreciate every sub that comes my way. And it feels good that I can see the channel begin to grow. It gets frustrating at times when you're learning how to work things and everything's not working your way. But to me, you stay true to you and things will come your way at a good time. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm staying positive with what I'm doing here. I'm trying to be creative. I'm trying to do my own thing, and I'm trying to have fun. And I hope the viewers appreciate that. I know sometimes you guys probably notice it. Hey, that's enough. Sorry about that. My dog's being a prick. But, you know, every now and then you guys probably do notice I'm having a bad day. The pain is extreme. I'm not pushing myself to be better those days. And tonight, I'm having a good night. This is the second show I've done today, and I'm enjoying it. I am. So how about we actually get into tonight's Raw? And we're going to start off with the top of the show. And we're going to move through the show from there. So all the superstars of the Raw Women's Division are in the ring. The ring is draped in a red carpet with a podium in the middle of the ring. Bayley looks extremely sour. Alexa Bliss's music hits and she walks to the ring. Bliss thanks the women for coming out to the ring. Bliss notes that she realizes that some of them are only out there because Kurt Angle made them. But still, Bliss says a lot of women come out here and referee to themselves as, or refer to themselves as Queen. For the first time in the history of Raw Women's Division, there's finally a woman who deserves to be called, or for the first time in history, there is one woman in this division that deserves to be called something other than Queen. She is the only goddess of WWE. Last night, she became the only woman to hold both the SmackDown Women's Championship and the Raw Women's Championship, something I didn't think the WWE would allow her to do, and it was good to see. But she had a problem. The referee just held her hand as if she is just a regular champion. Bliss says she deserves a proper coronation. Bliss also went on to say she couldn't do this without her friends in the Raw Women's Division. There are a few people that she needs to thank. First, Mickie James. Bliss watched James when she was a kid and she was so inspirational. That is why Bliss brought her to SmackDown Live. Even though James's contemporaries Mae Young and Fabulous Moolah are in a better place, at least she is still here. Next up was Sasha Banks. Bliss says Banks is a fantastic three-time women's champion. She also says that she heard what Banks had to say about her, not knowing who Bliss is. So Bliss informed Banks who she was. And Banks can call her the women's champ and the person who pinned her to be where she is at. Banks tries to get in Bliss's face, and she accidentally bumps into Nia Jax, who's standing right behind her. Jax stares Bliss up and down. Bliss looks at Jax and says that they are all good. She goes on to try and cozy up to Jax and notes that they are all jealous of Bliss and Jax. Bliss stands on the podium and says it feels good to be on top of the world. Now she goes on to say that she almost forgot Bayley. If it wasn't for Bayley, none of this would be possible. Who else would she beat for the championship? Bliss says she thought it was only going to be Bayley's father in the crowd, but it was her whole family. She went on to say that when she noticed Bayley's cousins crying, she says at least now Bayley's little cousin have a real role model to look up to. Bayley, pissed, frustrated, flips the podium over, sends Bliss flailing on her back, and a huge brawl erupts and breaks out into the ring. This is when we got a commercial break, and during the commercial break, I guess Kurt Angle made an impromptu 8-woman tag team match. So we had Alexa Bliss, with Nia Jax and Alicia Fox and Emma versus Bayley, Sasha Banks, Dana Brooke of all people, and Mickie James. Now, Bayley, like I said at top of the match, I'm not into these big 8 and 6-man women tag team matches. To me, it's a waste of these women's talent because they don't really all get to showcase what they're capable of. Now, as for Dana Brooke, you want to limit her time in the ring because she does botch a lot of shit up. And yes, you can see she's been working on it. She's trying to get better, but she's not there yet. So you do have to limit her. But then she could have been used in a tag team match. And instead we got this huge match, you know? There could have been so much more that came out of this. So Bayley tries to lock up with Bliss, but Bliss tags in Emma immediately. Emma goes behind Bayley and elbows her in the back of the head. Delivers a deep arm drag by Bayley. And Bayley tags in James, who lands a double axe handle off the top to Emma's arm. Emma grabs an armbar and takes down James. James kips up twice and takes down Emma. James tags in Brooke, who crushes the recently tagged in Alicia Fox in the corner with an impressive handspring back elbow. Yes, it was impressive because she did not botch. Banks and Bayley double arm drag Fox. The faces work over Fox in their corner. Fox surprises Banks with a back elbow. And then she dumps Banks to the outside. The heels surround Banks. The faces dropped off the apron and square off with the heels. I don't want to continuously use all their names, so when it's like a big moment like where they're all gathering together, I'm just going to go faces and heels. After the break, Fox gets a 2 count on Banks after a Northern Lights suplex. Jax tags in and tosses Banks clear across the ring. We get multiple elbow drops by Jax for another near fall. Bliss tags in and works over Banks. Bliss misses the insult to injury, and Banks tags in Bayley. Now, Bayley came in like a ball of fire and just ripped into Bliss from pillar to post, which I get to say. Middle rope stunner by Bayley over the rope, the middle rope. It looked pretty damn good, I should say, because she completed the stunner. Bliss popped back up and she caught the top rope right across the back of the neck. Looked pretty damn good. Get a side suplex by Bayley. Jax breaks up the pin, and Banks dumps Jax to the outside. Let's see, where was I? James dives off the top rope onto Jax. Banks drop kicks Emma out of the ring, which sends her out of... Well, I just said that, which sends her out of the ring. Bliss rakes Bayley's eyes and lands a DDT for the win. So your winners of that match were Alexa Bliss, Nia Jax, Emma, and Alicia Fox. Yes, I had to go there because it just sounds fucking awesome. Like I said, it wasn't the most impressive match. The heels went over. Alexa Bliss went over as the one to pin Bayley, which makes her look even stronger and gives her more momentum as a champion. So I agree with that. But I want to say the way Bayley looked through the whole segment and even during the match, she looked like she was close to tears throughout the whole fucking thing. And I've said it before, she needs to drop the I had a dream and I wanted to become a superstar in WWE and I wanted to be this this top women's champion in WWE. She needs to drop it and let it go. She's achieved that dream. Grow the fuck up. Become a woman. You are in the women's division. So don't you dare be sour, you know? It's the only way you can go. you take your licks and you come back and you go at it again and you bring a little bit more fire. A little bit more of an adult, kind of mentality. And I think she would connect more with a lot of the fans, not just the little girls and kiddies that love her so much. She needs to progress, and she's not doing that. Up next, we had Enzo and Big Cass, and they're in the ring, but Anderson and Gallows attack them from behind. Big Cass and Enzo clear the ring. Now, as you know, this happened before. Actually, Enzo and Cass came down to the ring. They did their shtick, and then they got in the ring, and they were talking smack, like always, against their opponent, which happened to be Anderson and Gallows. And Gallows and Anderson tried the usual thing, attack from behind, get the sneak attack in, wipe them out, and it was pretty damn close. But Big Cass was a major proponent in kicking all these guys out of the ring. And after it was cleared, we went to commercial break, and we got back. It was Enzo Amore with Big Cass in his corner against Luke Gallows with Karl Anderson in his corner. Now Gallows almost takes Enzo's head off with a big boot right at the top of the match. Enzo gets up and stumbles into the corner. Gallows beats down on Enzo in the corner, and Enzo attempts a drop kick, but Gallows swats him away. And if the first drop kick was just unbelievably far away to begin with, there was like half a foot between him and Gallows. So either way, he would have missed the drop kick. But Gallows made sure he kind of saved it, didn't let it look so much as a botch, and he swatted him away, and it made it look a lot better. Now Gallows levels Enzo with a nasty clothesline. Gallows locks in a modified hammerlock and picks up Enzo and slams him on his back, or on his injured arm, I should say. Basically a backdrop with a hammerlock applied. Now Gallows chokes and beats down Enzo in the middle of the ring, and he goes back to the top wrist lock. Enzo fights to his feet, but Gallows sends him into the corner. Gallows charges in, but ends up running into Enzo's boot. Get a middle rope diving DDT by Enzo, and Enzo finally lands a drop kick, followed by the field goal punt kick, which really did nothing to Gallows. Gallows picks up Enzo for a suplex, but Enzo turns it into a small package for a 2 count. Enzo goes up top, but Anderson gets up on the apron to distract Enzo, and Gallows pulls Enzo off the top rope and drops him in a fireman's carry into a flapjack for the win. Your winner, Luke Gallows. So, once again, Enzo and Cass been relegated to being the Ragdolls on Raw. They won yesterday at Payback and come out looking weaker for it because they suffer a loss again. Moving on. Actually, you know what? It told a story a little bit. It wasn't the greatest match. Luke Gallows wins. Makes, like I said, it made Cass and Enzo still look weak. I don't agree with it, but it is what it is. I reported on it earlier this week, I think it was, or last week, I should say, how Vince McMahon enjoys seeing Enzo getting ragdolled. And you've seen that throughout this match. He got ragdolled like a motherfucker, I've treated people like that in the past, and Jesus Christ, to have someone enjoy it that much that you get stuck with that gimmick is a horrible thing to experience. And I guarantee you, Enzo doesn't agree with it fully, but it pleases the boss, so he's going to do it. Now, after the match, we get a backstage segment with TJ Perkins asking Neville what happened last night. He thought Neville said Austin Aries isn't on the Neville level. Well, Neville replied by saying Aries isn't. TJP tells Neville that people are saying he couldn't beat Aries and had to resort to attacking the referee to keep his title. Neville responded by telling TJP to tread carefully. It was the referee who was out of position that kept him from ending our Aries problem. Now, TJP questioned him and said, our Neville problem? Neville says this is all about title opportunities. TJP has a match against Aries tonight. So, yeah. I do want to say I am enjoying Neville as a Cruiserweight champion. I actually enjoy him as a heel too. He's revitalized and brought us something new that wasn't the man that gravity forgot. Because the fans clearly did not connect with him. Now they connect with him. They dislike him as a heel, and that is a good thing. I want to see more. I want to see him get a little bit more violent. But I think we're going to get there eventually. Up next is a in-ring segment with Seth Rollins. Now, I said this, I believe it was yesterday. Seth Rollins desperately needs to find his personality. He needs to discover who he really is in the wrestling world. Because his promo tonight just did not cut it. He was trying to get the fans riled up, and it clearly really wasn't working. He got a little bit of a buzz from them, but not much. And this guy is a better heel. I don't know why they wanted him to go face. I know they were building up this storyline between him and Triple H, and then adding Joe into it. But he was so much better. He knew who he was as a heel. Now he's fighting between the Architect, the Kingslayer, Seth freaking Rollins, and to me it just doesn't make sense. He needs to find himself. If he's going to be face, he's got to own it, and he's got to go fully blown out baby face, and he's got to find that in his character, because right now he hasn't found himself yet. Now Rollins says he is feeling good, even though he got his butt kicked last night by Samoa Joe. He is still feeling good. The WWE Universe has been with Rollins through the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. No matter how bad it gets, you have to embrace the sucky parts of life and stand up and do something about it. Rollins looked in the mirror and realized that he is still Seth freaking Rollins. Everything came full circle last month at WrestleMania. Rollins slew the King of Kings. Last night he got payback on Samoa Joe. There's only one thing left to do. Rollins says he wants the Beast. Rollins wants the Universal Championship. Rollins has been to Suplex City and he isn't afraid to go back. And we get Finn Balor's music, and he walks out on stage, comes down to the ring. Balor says they have been on the same wavelength for some time now. Balor says he respects Rollins. Rollins is the one-legged man who won at WrestleMania. He went on to say that he was the one-arm, or Balor was the one-arm man who won the Universal Championship. He also asks Rollins if he remembers that. It was the night Balor's arm was hanging from his body and he still beat Rollins. He goes on to say that when it comes to facing Lesnar, the line starts behind him. And we get Dean Ambrose, and the party is basically almost full on. There's more to come. So Ambrose says he knows a little something about Brock. Brock does what he wants, when he wants, and he fights when he wants. Which isn't that often, which is very fucking true. I'm glad someone fucking said it. He says Raw should be about fighting champions. Ambrose will fight anyone, anywhere. If they are going to talk about a title, they should be talking about the Intercontinental title, because it is the #1 title on Raw. Ambrose is itching for some action. And out walks Miz and Maryse. Miz says those two haven't earned anything. Miz calls Ambrose a disgrace of a champion, which I agree with. If anyone deserves a shot, it's Miz. Miz goes on and on about how he made the IC title relevant. Balor says that Miz is also the latest member of the Finn Balor Just Kicked Your Ass Club. Miz says Balor cheap shotted him last week. Delusional. Miz says when he was champ, he defended the title nightly. Disagreed there. Ambrose wasn't even important enough to defend the title at Payback last night. I agree. Miz calls Rollins a gimp. Miz says he is the biggest threat to anyone and everyone. Rollins, Ambrose, and Balor all tell Miz to shut up in unison. Ambrose says two things are for sure. Ambrose will fight anyone, and everyone likes to see Miz get beat up. Ambrose pulls the crowd and asks if they want to see Miz get beat up by Rollins or Balor or Ambrose. Ambrose calls up Kurt Angle and gets a match made for tonight. And it will be Balor versus Rollins versus The Miz for the #1 contendership of the IC title. At first it was like, God damn it. And I had a feeling it was going to happen. They were going to have Miz come out on top. And yes, they did. But we're also now going to see other feuds as well involved. We're going to see a recurring feud, and we get another one, and we get another recurring one. Now, as usual, The Miz does love to hide behind Maryse, and he did that throughout here and his match later on in the main event. They all did well on the mic. I do have a problem with the way Ambrose is. He doesn't stop. He's got attention deficit disorder. He will not stop moving. He won't just stop and talk to you. When he's in that ring, he is always in motion, and it is very, very hard to pay attention to him then. I do want to say his backstage segments today were a bit on the funny side. I did chuckle at some every now and then, but I thought it was overly done. Instead of being on the show and wrestling, he wanted to play commentator and interviewer today. So, didn't fight at Payback, did not fight at the show afterwards, and he wants to call Brock Lesnar basically a lazy champion. Makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? So up next we get Tony Neese, the Brian Kendrick, and Noam Dar versus Rich Swann, Akira Tozawa, and Jack Gallagher. And this is the match I did begin to fall asleep through. I missed a little bits here and there, but I got the gist of the match. I'm not going to go over this one. It's Kendrick locks in the captain's hook on Gallagher, but Tozawa breaks it up with a Shining Wizard. Tozawa and Swann dive over the top onto Neese and Dar. Gallagher hits the gentleman drop kick on Kendrick for the win. So your winners are Rich Swann, Akira Tozawa, and Jack Gallagher. Like I said, was not really into the match. I started falling asleep, so I didn't really have one. I caught the ending, really, Now, up next is the Sheamus and Cesaro promo in the ring. We had Sheamus thank the crowd for some reason, I don't know. Sheamus asks if they know how good it feels to be set free. For the last few months, he has been living in a fog. He never liked the WWE Universe, and "You look stupid" chant breaks out. And Sheamus says no, Matt and Jeff Hardy looked stupid laying on the mat last night. The people never liked Sheamus. They treated him like a red-headed stepchild, which got me chuckling. It did. You got this redhead, and he's calling himself a red-headed stepchild. A little bit on the nose there for you, Sheamus. They treated him like a red-headed stepchild, but Cesaro. There was the Cesaro section, and Cesaro believed that the people would propel them to the top. Sheamus says he believed him until WrestleMania. The Hardys stole their moment. Cesaro said these people felt a rush of excitement when any nostalgia act shows up. The WWE Universe gets distracted by every shiny new toy. They rather look at the past or the future instead of what is in front of their face right here, right now. The feel-good moment from WrestleMania didn't last long. Last night, they proved the Hardys do not belong in the ring with a warrior and a Superman. Sheamus adds Sheamus adds the honesty...
Here, that might help.
Thank you. My beautiful wife always knows when I need coffee. So, where was I? Because I was fucking that line up like a motherfucker. Sheamus adds the honestly that the truth of it. Ha. Sheamus says I wrote that fucked up and it just came out wrong. Sheamus says they showed them that this isn't the WWE they left behind. This is the WWE that belongs to Sheamus and Cesaro. They don't set the bar, they are the bar. And Cesaro and Sheamus are about to leave the ring, and out come the Hardy Boys. And they walk out on the ramp. Matt thanks Cesaro and Sheamus for that explanation. Matt says they feel as though they owe Cesaro and Sheamus a response. Matt put down the mic. Jeff and Matt both do the delete taunt and charge the ring. Cesaro and Sheamus hightail it out, and that is that. Now, if you did watch it, you will have noticed that Matt really struggled with the broken character during this segment. He even had to repeat himself because he started flubbing the lines, or he was, doing his broken thing, just kind of trying to meld two personas together. And to me, it was good. It was nicely done. Like I said, I want this broken Matt Hardy bit to come out slowly. It doesn't need to be rushed. They can bring it out slowly as this feud progresses, and it will be a great moment when it happens. Now, backstage, Charlie asks Miz if his lack of history with his Balor or Rollins will affect his strategy tonight. Miz says he knows that Rollins cost Balor 8 months of his life. Before Miz can continue, the camera pans out and Dean Ambrose is standing there holding the microphone. Ambrose asks Miz if that hair gel gets in Miz's eyes when he wrestles. Does he have to wear a headband or some kind of powder? Miz simply walks away. Ambrose throws the segment back to Gene and Bobby at ringside, and that's where I started getting a little bit of a kick out of his backstage interview promos. Clearly referring to Gene Okerlund and Bobby the Brain Heenan. Up next, a couple of guys we haven't seen in a while. Heath Slater with Rhyno in his corner versus Apollo Crews and Titus O'Neil as his agent. Now I'm probably, you're probably wondering the same thing I did. Where the hell did Titus O'Neil came from? Well, there was an incident before the show tonight. Heath Slater and Rhyno were having a backyard barbecue, and there was an incident with a piece of steak. It wasn't cooked properly. It wasn't barbecued or grilled properly. Titus O'Neil has been stuck in the bathroom almost all day with a bad case of the runs. And he was able to just barely get out with Apollo Crews tonight to walk him down the aisle. I did hear that the fans close to the barrier did smell something rather peculiar as Titus O'Neil was at ringside. So maybe he messed himself during the match. But he did make an appearance at ringside. Dirty drawers and everything. So Slater and Crews lock up. Crews goes behind Slater and takes him down to the mat. Slater stands up, but Crews locks in an armbar. Slater reverses that and takes Cruz over with a side headlock. Cruz quickly reverses that and takes Slater over with a side headlock as well. Cruz kips up to his to tackle, drop down spot, leads to a deep arm drag by Slater. Yes, I fucked up. Slater celebrates, but as soon as he turns around, Cruz lands a deep arm drag of his own. Cruz drop kicks Slater. Slater stumbles into the corner, and Cruz misses a corner splash, and Slater rolls him up for a 2 count. Now Cruz misses an enziguri. Slater misses a Harlem sidekick, which allows Cruz to hit another enziguri. Cruz picks up Slater and drops him with the atomic powerbomb for the win. Your winner, Apollo Crews. Now after the match, Titus O'Neil, dirty drawers and all, was trying to do a little photo shoot with him and Cruz, and Rhyno took it upon himself to photobomb the pair and quickly exited the ring soon after. Now, after this match, we got a segment with Kurt Angle in the ring. And, actually, I'm going to take a drink here. Yeah, I'm drinking coffee and a knockoff 7-Up. So Angle says the match last night between Roman Reigns and Braun Strowman was the most physical match he has ever seen. Pretty sure I've seen worse. Reigns re-injured his ribs and had other internal injuries, and Strowman tore his rotator cuff. When Angle spoke to them both, they both made it clear that they are not done with one another. Angle says he has been talking to WWE officials to figure out how to handle this situation. But before Angle can finish his thought, Bray Wyatt interrupts. And Wyatt asks Angle to forgive him because they have not had the pleasure of being properly introduced. Wyatt shakes Angle's hand. Wyatt says he understands why Angle would be apprehensive. Wyatt is not here for destruction, not yet. He is here to be the savior of Raw. Wyatt hears all the cries of the WWE Universe, and he can fix it. He can fix you. Angle needs Wyatt. Wyatt asks Angle if he is going to allow him to do his work. Will he stand by Wyatt's side or get in his way? Angle says he doesn't know what Wyatt has planned, but Wyatt needs to remember that this is Angle's show. Now this gets a very guttural laugh from Wyatt, and Wyatt responds with, this may be Angle's show, but this is Wyatt's world. And we go to commercial break with the blackout that Wyatt's intro usually does. And I'm going to take another drink, so I apologize. Actually, I want to say that was a very good segment between the two. The look on Kurt Angle's face while Bray Wyatt's speaking to him, you know, he sold it perfectly. He was dumbfounded. He was a little bit leery and apprehensive, which was good. It needed that look on his face. He really did need to play that up. And Wyatt, as usual, killed it in his promo. I just want to know where he goes from here. You know, I really hope he doesn't stay in the mid-card level, because that's what happened last time that he was on Raw. I don't want to see it again. Now, backstage, Rollins is getting ready for his match. Ambrose walks in with a mic and tries to interview Rollins. Rollins says he didn't know this was on the schedule. Ambrose says he is getting good at this interview stuff. Maybe he will get his own show on the WWE Network. Ambrose runs down some potential names, including the Today Show and the Daily Show. There was one, I didn't catch it all because it was just a tongue twister of a fucking name. Now, Rollins tells Ambrose those are already shows. Ambrose asks Rollins if he thinks he can beat Ambrose. Rollins says yes, because he has before. Ambrose says he has beaten Rollins as well. A tense moment leads to a stare down between Rollins and Ambrose throws the show back to Gorilla Monsoon. Clearly just playing up the old bit, and it was good. He was having fun with it. He should have had a match tonight. That's all I'm saying. It just, like everyone says, it makes him look like a lazy champion. So up next we get Austin Aries versus TJ Perkins, which I found to be a very good match. These guys brought it. They sold it, and it all looked good. Now Aries whips TJP over with a arm drag. Aries follows that up by chops to TJP in the corner. TJP tries to leapfrog Aries, but Aries puts on the brakes. TJP turns around and boxes TJP's ears. TJP turns around and Aries boxes TJP's ears. Sorry about that. My writing sometimes is terrible. Top rope missile drop kick by Aries for a 2 count. Aries tries to lock in the last chancery, but TJP fights out of it quickly. Aries goes up top, but TJP cuts him off and drops him into the Tree of Woe. TJP works over Aries' knee after we get a commercial break, and after the break, TJP takes Aries down with a springboard elbow. TJP continues to work over Aries' knee, and TJP whips Aries into the corner, but Aries' knee gives out before reaching said corner. Aries misses a shoulder block into the corner. TJP locks in a single leg crab over the top rope. Goes right down to the 4 count. TJP wraps Aries' leg around the ring post, and Aries pulls TJP into the ring post head first. We get heat-seeking missile by Aries and a gutbuster into an STO, followed with a pendulum elbow by Aries. Aries hits the basement elbow off the top rope for a near fall, and TJP goes for a strike combo but ends up eating a shin breaker into a suplex by Aries. Aries hits the ropes for the discus 5-arm, but TJP kicks Aries' knee out from under him. TJP picks up Aries for the detonation kick, but Aries reverses it into the last chancery for the win. Win by submission. You get Austin Aries. Very good match. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot better than the prior cruiserweight match. I really can't get into those 6-man tags when it's the cruiserweights. I expect so much more, and they don't deliver. Now, up next, or after the match, I should say. Forgot about this. TJP attacks Aries from behind and takes out his knee and locks on a knee bar. He held it on for a very long time, and what I like about Aries, he sells these moves very well. He was screaming in torment. He was clutching at his knee when it was finally released, and it looked good. So I do appreciate how he sells his injuries, but I've noticed something in WWE as of late. Everyone is selling knee injuries. It's like, do you not feel pain anywhere else? Is it always got to be a knee? I know that is one of the weakest parts on the body, that you can be injured easily or what have you, but it doesn't always have to be a knee. Come on, guys. Use a little bit of imagination. Up next, Balor is walking backstage, and he runs afoul of Dean Ambrose. Ambrose cuts him off and tries to interview him. Ambrose says this is the biggest match Balor has had since he returned. Is Balor nervous at all? Balor responds by saying he eats nerves, and he is going to win this match and the Intercontinental title. And the Intercontinental title is coming to the Balor Club. Ambrose says, in that case, there is only one thing left to say. Ambrose hands Balor a donut and says, for God's sake, eat a carb, man. This is good for you. Balor takes a bite and hands it back to Ambrose. Balor heads to the ring. The Drifter, Elias Sampson, appears He walks into the shot playing his guitar. Ambrose asks Samson if he knows any Pearl Jam. I am a Pearl Jam fan myself, so it would have sounded good to hear it. Samson no-sells it and just continues to walk on by. Didn't get a chance to send it back to Mean Gene, but he did call himself Mean Dean Ambrose earlier in the show, so that was pretty good. Now backstage, Goldust pitches a Shattered Dreams production called The Golden Quest to Kurt Angle. Truth says they want a tag titles match. Angle says he can't sanction that match because the Golden Truth's win-loss record is shit, basically. Goldust says the Hardys and Angle have inspired them. Both Goldust and Truth say they need this. Angle says they will have a tag team turmoil match next week to determine the number one contenders for the tag team titles. I really hate tag team turmoil matches. I really do. I wish they could just do a tournament style. I know they don't have enough for it, but Jesus Christ, you know, you've got enough teams, and you just see who comes out as the number one contenders. Have all your tag teams involved. I know there isn't that many, but Jesus Christ, you know, you have one team versus another. The winner goes on to the next, and same with the other one. I think there's only like 4 or 5 teams to begin with, so it wouldn't take very long. But tag team turmoil matches, they fucking suck. We move into the Intercontinental Championship number 1 contenders match with Finn Balor versus Seth Rollins versus The Miz with Maryse in his corner. A lot of action went down in this match. I cannot believe how much shit you have to keep in your head and write down in a match like this. They were given the time. They were given the right feel to this match. It all looked good. It all went down the way it was supposed to, and it connected with the fans. It was emotional. It was suspenseful. It was hard hitting. A great fucking match. I enjoyed it, and it kept me wide awake because I was interested in what was happening and what was going to happen. Like I said, way too much to get into in this match. So I'm going to break it down so it isn't like half an hour of me just talking about the main event. Now, The Miz, right at the hop of the match, slid out of the ring. You know how he is. He plays the cowardly heel, stood behind Maryse, and basically said, you two go at it. You have to work out your shit to begin with. You two start the match. And that's what happened. We had a little back and forth with Seth Rollins and Finn Balor. When they got tired of it, though, every time that they were on the ground or on the mat, Miz tried to sneak in and, you know, do a sneak attack. They caught him. He always slid back out of the ring. So they said, fuck this. They went outside the ring. They chased him back in. And they trapped him. And that's when a real triple threat match started to begin. Now, you've seen Miz throughout the match trying to use Maryse as a bodyguard or a shield. And to me, it's a worse form of a heel that you can play. I know there's been a lot of heels that played that angle. I don't respect it. It just doesn't look good on anyone. But they play it up really well. Now, a lot of high spots. Oh, Jesus, man. You cannot believe how many. We've seen a frog splash on a Balor. We've seen so many things. I'm going to cut right down to the ending, though, because there is a lot. Now, Miz hits the stunner on Rollins' knee, then locks in the figure 4. Balor hits another penalty kick on Miz to break up the hold. Get a spin kick by Rollins to Miz. I wrote down Pele kick to Rollins by Balor, but I don't think it was a Pele. Rollins manages to super kick Balor and fall on him for another 2 count. Rollins hits a double blockbuster on Balor and Miz. We get a frog splash for a 2 count by Rollins on Balor. And Rollins throws Balor out of the ring. Miz is perched on the top rope. Rollins runs up to the top rope and hits a superplex into the Falcon Arrow for another long, very long 2 count. We get a wrist lock, Miz climbing, and Seth throws Finn out of the ring, climbs to meet the A-lister. Oh yeah, I just read this shit. We get suicide dives from both men. Samoa Joe appears out of nowhere, hits a, I guess it's called an STO. It's very similar to the rock bottom on Rollins. Miz sees this and sees his moment, but he doesn't see Finn behind him. We get a sling blade and then a shotgun drop kick. And all of a sudden, bang, Wyatt's. Like the arena goes dark. We get the fireflies, and Bray Wyatt is standing in the ring. Bray hits Balor with the Sister Abigail, takes Balor out, and the opportunist takes the win. He picks the bones, and Miz is your #1 contender for the Intercontinental Champion. So we have a reoccurring feud with The Miz and Dean Ambrose over the Intercontinental title. We now have Bray Wyatt feuding with Finn Balor, and which I think is going to be interesting, especially when the Demon is brought into the storyline. And then we have Seth Rollins and Samoa Joe continuing their feud. So, all in all, I like it. I just really was hoping it would be someone else feuding with Ambrose, because he needs to be brought and elevated by someone that can really help him. And Miz just isn't that guy. They've had some good matches, but it's old already. We've seen it. We're done with it. We want something new. Now, all in all, I'm hoping SmackDown brings it, because if they don't, Raw's going to kick their ass. This show was what it was supposed to be. It was a Fallout show for Payback, and it did that, and it worked great. Like I said, SmackDown's going to have to bring it tomorrow, because if not, Raw's kicking ass. And I don't need that. I don't need that. Oh, actually, no, I shouldn't say that. I love Raw. I do. I like the way SmackDown works a bit better, but Raw has been working better since WrestleMania is over and Kurt Angle's been in. It's like something changed in everything, and I do appreciate that. So do me a favor. If you stuck it out, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. Help this channel grow. And if you can, share it around, because the more subscribers, the better ratings are, the more I get paid from YouTube. And right now, wrestling-related content, we are not getting paid very much for advertisements. So please, help me out by helping me out with subscribers. Share this around with your friends that enjoy wrestling. This is Pillar to Post. I really enjoyed tonight. I thank you for joining me, and I will see you tomorrow. Probably do another pre-show show, and a follow-up on the results, my reaction, and my review of SmackDown Live. See you tomorrow. Thank you very much.